Awesome. Well, welcome to Celebration Center for Spiritual Living. I am Reverend Chris. I'm the senior minister here at Celebration Center. And of course, right now we are Zooming and live streaming everything on the internet. And we're so glad that all of y'all are here with us. And we are physically located in Falls Church, Virginia, in the DC metro area. And it's just so wonderful to see all of y'all. I see everybody hopping on now, and it's just absolutely fabulous to see our beloved community coming together this morning. So, like we started last week, we are going to recite our vision. However, before you put it up, Ivor, I have to tell y'all that we recited an old mission last week, and I mentioned it in the e-news that went out, and I just wanted to apologize that I didn't double check on that. However, I do think that it's good to see where we have come from, to see where we're heading. And so it was one of those accidents, but a happy accident that Spirit is just informing and directing us into the future and into that vision that we are creating. So this week we are going to be saying our vision. It is the correct vision that we currently have. And Ivor, you can put that up, and I invite you to just stay muted, but say it out loud with me from home, wherever you are. So our vision, we are celebrating spirit within and knowing the oneness of humanity. And so it is. And now I invite our music director, Lynn Hollyfield, to open us in song.
We're going to share a video that All Angles made of the song Closer and Closer. Ivor. Is Ivor there?
Just a second, hang on.
Okay, sorry.
Closer and closer each breath to my beloved. Closer and closer each breath to my beloved. God, you're in each breath I take. You are my beloved. God, you're in each breath I take. You are my beloved. Closer and closer each breath to my beloved. Closer and closer each breath to my beloved. God, you're in each breath I take. You are my beloved. God, you're in each breath I take. You are my beloved. Closer and closer each breath to my beloved. Closer and closer each breath to my beloved. God, you're in each breath I take. You are my beloved. God, you're in each breath I take. You are my beloved. Closer and closer each breath to my beloved. Closer and closer each breath to my beloved. Closer and closer
That was beautiful. Thank you, all angles. Thank you. That was beautiful. And now I would like to invite our practitioner, Irina Kursevich. I'm so sorry. I don't think that's quite right. Our practitioner on platform today to offer some words of wisdom and a prayer for us.
Thank you, Reverend Kristen. My name is Irina Kurashevich, and I'm a platform practitioner today in the service. We will work on it, Reverend Chris, but even I could not say it correctly the first time. And today I invite us to pray, and that's what practitioners do. You know, you heard it many times, licensed practitioners, and Ernest Holmes, in his works and in his lectures, he said that everyone who practices science of mind is a practitioner. So we're all practitioners. Licensed practitioners took classes and took the commitment to pray, to know the truth behind the circumstances. And if you look through our newsletter, there is an announcement that the center where Reverend Raymond Anderson is the senior minister, the name of the center is Center for Spiritual Living, Greater Baltimore. They have a class about praying, an art of prayer. And Eugene Holden is leading this class. And if you really want to pray, you may want to know how Eugene does it. He's absolutely phenomenal practitioner, and his passion is praying, and his passion is teaching how science of mind teach us to pray. So if you haven't joined yet, please do that. Find your newsletter that Janine sent out and just email them and they will include you in the class. Today my reading and actually my prayer will be from Ernest Holmes and from this book that probably a lot of people have read. This book is called This Thing Called You by Ernest Holmes. This what we call like an welcoming book to the science of mind. Before you start to read the big book, you should just grab this one and read it. And that would absolutely change your life, I promise you. Ernest Holmes says, stop blaming anyone or anything, persons, circumstances, or situations for what may be happening to you. It is a dead-end road. It is a blind alley. It is a raft adrift of an ocean of uncertainty. Today, you're going to take your life in your own hands, realizing God is ever with you. You're going to identify yourself with goodness and with joy. Straight thinking is going to do this for you. Straight thinking may not be the easiest thing in the world, but it is possible for anyone. And I invite you to close your eyes if you're comfortable and take a deep breath. And take another deep breath. And just be still. Embrace the snow day if you're in our area. Embrace the snow day, or just imagine a perfect snow day and embrace its stillness. It is so quiet outside, and it is so quiet within. And I'm going to read the affirmations that Ernest Holmes offers us. The spirit within me is alive, awake, and aware. It is always flowing through me in perfect life. I accept my spiritual perfection. I know that my physical being is inclined in it. It is a manifestation of the life, the energy, the love, the peace, and the power which is of the Spirit. I know that this day in which I live, this present time, which is now, is perfect. Everything in my world works harmoniously and divinely. I live in a completeness of this present moment. I know that the all wisdom guides me, that all power protects me, that all presence goes within me. And take another deep breath and embrace these words. And just remember that these words were written many, many years ago. And it still says, I know that this day in which I live, this present time, which is now, is perfect. And so it is.
Thank you, Irina. And I'm going to actually invite Lynn to introduce our musician today.
Oh, I'd be happy to. Jillian Matundan. I've just got acquainted with Jillian and her music. She came to an open mic that I hosted, and I knew she was friends with some other singer-songwriter friends of mine, and I love her music. She is a prolific songwriter and multi-instrumentalist, and also a tech whiz on live streaming music at this point, and has helped me quite a bit over the last few weeks. I've really enjoyed working with her. She's a lot of fun. So I'll post her website in the chat box, but please welcome Jillian Matundan.
Good morning, everyone. I hope you can hear this. Thank you. Actually, this song goes really well with the reading we just heard. It's a song about trusting yourself, and it's the title of the EP that I just released last year. You say that you're stuck in this place. You say you can't see, you don't know the way. You want to believe all the lies you tell yourself. You've got the answer, but keep asking for help. What do you need to know that you don't already feel? So what are you gonna do? What are you gonna say? What are you gonna think when it all goes away? And how will you feel when it's gone? Who are you helping by hanging on? Hanging on. Ooh. I wish you would breathe. I want you to know you deserve all you want. So learn to let go. You push so hard, you hope it all works out. Ignore all the signs and push away your doubt. If you just listen, you will hear what you already know. So what are you gonna do? What are you gonna say? And what are you gonna think when it all goes away? And how will you feel when it's gone? Who are you helping by hanging on? waiting for someone else to make a move. You're hoping that you won't have to choose. So what will it take for you to see? All it takes is you to be free. So what are you gonna do? And what are you gonna say when it's all gone? I hope that you will stop hanging on, hanging on. Ooh.
Thank you, Jillian. That was beautiful. I was definitely dancing along over here at home. It's so good to see everyone. I just love coming on here and seeing my beautiful community and seeing the people that I know and the people that I haven't met yet. And I've been here for 3 weeks now, 3 weeks today that I've been in Virginia, and I am just loving it. Absolutely loving it. It's been wonderful to just kind of start to scratch the surface of getting to know people and scratch the surface of getting to know the area. I found my Trader Joe's, so I feel good about life. I can get to Trader Joe's and I can get to the church and back. So it makes me so happy to see all of your little squares, all of your little Brady Bunch squares. So speaking of seeing things and looking at things, yes, there's lots of chats coming in about how beautiful that song was. I loved that song. Thank you again, Jillian. So today we're talking about looking above. And last week we talked about looking ahead, which to me was really, the vision of where you're headed. But when I think of looking above, the first thing that comes to my mind is, what are you focused on? Where are you putting your focus? And, God's everywhere. God is me, God is you, God's the table and the computer and the Wi-Fi and the lamp and the snow and all of that. So God's right here, immanent with us. However, when we think about looking to God, we generally tend to look up, right? We have this societal look up. And so when I think about looking above and I think about what are you focused on and what am I focused on, what really comes to my mind is, am I focused on God? Am I continuing to focus on that thing that I know to be true about myself and others and this world and the decisions that I'm making? And, I'm calling it God, but if you don't like that word, that's okay. Input your own word, because we can call it whatever we want to call it. It's not a man up in the sky that is looking down on us, right? It's a consciousness. It is the consciousness. It is the one mind that is living itself through and as each of us. And so if God doesn't work for you, say spirit, or say Allah, or say love, or say consciousness, or say energy, whatever word works for you that gives you that feeling of spaciousness and that feeling of knowing that you are an individualized expression of something greater, of something bigger than yourself. And so we say looking above, but what we really mean is keeping our focus on knowing the truth that God is all there is, that spirit is all there is. That's what we really mean. And so I've been asking myself, where's my focus? What am I focused on? And it's so interesting because when I think about this idea of looking above, all of a sudden there's things that I can't see. And often, if I can't see something, it goes away. It no longer becomes a problem. And I think about how many challenges I've had in my life that stayed challenges just because I focused all of my energy and attention on the problem all the time, and I never stopped to gain that bigger perspective, to step back and to look above it. uh, Albert Einstein said, we cannot solve a problem at the same level of consciousness we created it. We must rise above. We must transcend the problem. And we can't do that if we're so focused on the problem that we have blinders on and we can't see a bigger perspective. I promised in a video I made earlier this week, if you saw it, that I had a funny story for you. And I even have a video to share, which Ivor, I'll be ready for that in just a minute, but not right quite yet. So I've been working from the center, from my new office. I love going into work and just settling into that space and feeling the energy is so good there, because y'all have been spending so much time there, right? And so I go into the office and I was so excited because there's a full-size refrigerator, and I was like, great, I can bring my own lunches and I don't have to worry about it, even though I've been eating a ton of sandwiches from the Vietnamese sandwich shop downstairs. I can bring my own lunch if I so choose. And so I brought like a frozen dinner one day, and put it in the freezer, went to get it out, looked around, and there was no microwave in the kitchen. And I was so surprised that we had this nice kitchen with the sink and the counters and the refrigerator and no microwave. And so I put my frozen dinner back in the freezer, and I went and I got myself a sandwich from the Vietnamese sandwich shop. And I was just so disappointed that we didn't have a microwave. And I was like, I'm gonna have to bring a microwave in. So then the next day I came in and I recorded this video for my best friend Audra that I've talked about before, and I sent it to her. And I want to show y'all the video because it makes me laugh every time I watch it, and it made Ivor and Janine laugh when I showed them, so I thought it would make y'all laugh too. Hi Audra, I'm an idiot. Here's our kitchen, and I looked and I looked, and there was just no microwave anywhere. No microwave. Trash cans. No microwave. I even went down here. Maybe in there. No. Just no microwave. This morning I walk in. Giant freaking microwave right above the stove. So, as you can see, I was focused on the wrong thing and I missed the massive microwave that is located in our kitchen. Really nice microwave. I've used it several times. And that to me just solidifies the idea that something can be literally right in front of our faces. And if we aren't attuned to the vibration of that thing, we aren't going to see it. No matter how big it is, no matter if we say that we're looking for it, we must tap in and tune into that which we wish to see to be able to see it. And isn't that really how spirit works? Because spirit is all that there is. Right? And so it has to be in front of our faces because it's everywhere. And so it, of course, is in front of our faces. And yet sometimes we spend so much time focusing on what we don't want that we never stop to look up and see that it's all spirit, that spirit's right there. And all we have to do is just take a moment and look around at the brilliance that is God, that is existing in every moment. I look out the windows. This is the first time, well, the first time in 2 years that I've seen snow. I went back to Asheville and saw it once and was kind of over it because it dropped like a foot of snow and I had only packed California clothes. But this is the first time I've seen snow in a couple of years. And I'm not a huge snow fan. However, it is so beautiful. And I can look out the window and I have all this ivy in my backyard, and it is so obvious that spirit is in that snow and spirit is in that ivy. And, you know, I can worry about, oh, I'm going to have to drive my car and how am I going to drive in this and this and that? Or I can stop and I can say, wow, God is in the snow. And so when we shift that perspective, we can even get to a place where we say, God is in this challenge. God is in the snow that I have to drive on, not just the snow that's on the ivy in the backyard looking beautiful. God is truly everything, everywhere. And we get to look above and remember that truth. So as I'm thinking about perspective and not seeing things that are right in front of our faces or that seem so obvious to us, I think about the color blue. And scientists have figured out that ancient humans didn't see the color blue. And when I say ancient, I don't mean that long ago, like more than 6,000 years ago. And it's so interesting because they did a lot of research and they said, okay, could they not see the color blue, or did they just not have a word for the color blue? And what they figured out is that no, they couldn't see the color blue. It was not a language thing. It was literally our brains didn't process the color blue. And we can see that in writing. When Homer wrote the Iliad and the Odyssey, he referred to the ocean as a wine dark sea. He didn't call it blue. And we figured out, scientists, not me, somebody figured out that we weren't able to start seeing and processing the color blue until we could make it ourselves. And so Egyptians figured out, actually it came from Afghanistan into Egypt, they figured out how to make blue dye for blue cloth. And then they created a word for the color blue. And then they started seeing blue. And now today, of course, we can see many shades of blue. And it's so interesting when we're thinking about this idea of perspective and language and society and how we were raised and all of that. You know, we call blue blue, right, here in the United States in English. And we have light blue and we have dark blue, but it's all blue. And in Russia, they actually have two separate words for light blue and dark blue. And they've done research that showed that Russians can delineate between different shades of blue much faster than Americans can, than English-speaking Americans can. And that's because their perspective is different. They have different languaging and different ways of processing information. Another place that we can see this, and I think this is so cool, is there's a tribe, the Namibian Himbas, and they don't have a word for the color blue. They only have a word for green, but they have a lot of words for the color green. And so they did some research and they showed English speakers, and then they showed people from this tribe this picture. Hold on. This picture. And first they showed them the picture here on the right, and they asked them to point out the blue square. And this tribe was unable to do it. They were unable to see this blue square. All of the colors looked the same to them, and it took them a long time to distinguish which shade was different. However, when they were shown this circle on the left side, one of these squares is a different shade of green. And they were able to easily, effortlessly, and quickly point out that this square is a different color than all of the other greens. And I think for most of you, I know for me, if not all of you, I would imagine for all of you, this looks the same. to you. This circle all looks like the same color green. And perhaps if we looked for a really long time, we would be able to see a different shade of green. But I looked for quite a while last night and I couldn't see that different shade of green. And so, we tend to think that however we were raised, whatever our perspective is, whatever our language tells us is the way. But it's not true. It's not true. It's a way. It's not the way. And there are so many vast perspectives out there and available to us. And there are so many things that are happening right in front of our eyes that we aren't seeing because we aren't tuned into that frequency, to that vibration. And it so depends on everything. It depends on our language. It depends on our upbringing. It depends on our religion. It depends on our thinking, our belief systems, our parents, ourselves, our own brains and how they're wired. And our perspectives are just so unique. And so we weren't necessarily trained to not look at the problem, to look above. And yet we get to train ourselves. That's the beauty of it, is that because all of these different perspectives exist, we can train ourselves to see something different. We can find ourselves looking at the problem and go, nope, I'm looking above. Nope, I'm looking above. And we might have to do it 50, 60, 70,000 times a day. But eventually our perspective will shift, and all of a sudden that which was invisible to us becomes visible. And all of a sudden, looking to spirit and remembering the truth that God is all there is in the midst of whatever is going on, that becomes our primary focus. That becomes the perspective through which we live our lives. And so that's what we're up to here. That's what we're doing, is we are changing our perspective and we are supporting one another in doing it. And what I love about learning that people who are raised differently, having different perspectives, is it means that diversity and making sure that we are surrounded by a diverse group of people is not only, something that we just want to do because it's 2021, but it becomes necessary to our growth as individuals and as a center. It becomes necessary to get those diverse perspectives because there are people out there, each of us is seeing things differently from one another. And so it is in my best interest to have a conversation with people different from me because they're seeing something that I need to know and I can't see. And so that is one of the beauties of diversity, is the diverse perspectives that come into play when we have a diverse group of people around us. And all of the sudden, when I spread out and I reach further and I have this diverse group of people around me, all of a sudden seeing God becomes so much easier because I don't just see God in my own perspective, but I see God in my perspective and in my friends' perspectives and in my acquaintances' perspectives and in that person that I couldn't really relate to, but then I had a conversation in the grocery store and then all of a sudden I got it in their perspective. And all of a sudden, God, which is closer than the air we breathe, it feels closer than the air we breathe, right? Ernest Holmes tells us true liberty comes only through true harmony. True harmony comes only through true unity. And true unity can come only through the conscious realization that we are one with God. And when he says we, he means all of us. So it's not just me. I'm not just the only one with God. You're one with God, and you're one with God, and you're one with God. We're all one with God. And when we see that, when we harmonize with one another in that, all of a sudden true liberty exists for all of us. So right now, something that we are choosing to turn our attention and focus and put our perspective on is the season for nonviolence. And if you are on our mailing list, then you have probably noticed that our beloved practitioner, Jen Fay, has been sending out daily emails. She sent one out yesterday on the first day, and she's already sent out this morning's, which was very impressive. And the season for nonviolence was started in 1998 by the United Nations. And it marks the 64 annual calendar days between the anniversary of the assassination of Mahatma Gandhi and the assassination of Martin Luther King Jr., Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. And that Mahatma Gandhi was assassinated on January 30th, and Martin Luther King Jr. was assassinated on April 4th. And there's 64 days. And so they launched this season for nonviolence. And every day there is a word that goes with the day. There is an action that you can take that takes steps towards nonviolence. And there is a quote, lots and lots of really good stuff. And Jen is going to be sending that out every day. And what they say on their website, what the INTA, which is the International New Thought Association, says on their website about the season for nonviolence is they say it teaches that every person can move the world forward in the direction of peace through daily nonviolent choices and actions. And some of our centers, a lot of centers in our organization practice the season for nonviolence, and some of them change it to the season for peace. And I thought about that, and I prayed about that. Because, you know, we talk about in our movement, we talk about in Science of Mind that you only want to focus on what you do want. You don't want to put your focus on what you don't want, right? I just said you got to move away from the problem and look above. And yet, I think there's power in denial. And so when we say the season for nonviolence, what we are doing is we are denying violence and we are denying its power. And there is a difference. You know, when we say turn away from, we do say, turn away from the condition, focus on spirit, don't look at the problem. We say that. However, there is a difference between focusing on spirit and seeing spirit happening within all and through all, and denying that something is happening and living in rainbows and butterflies all the time and tripping over the problem because we're unwilling to look at it and solve it. There's a difference between putting on blinders and turning away and looking a condition square in the eyes and saying, you have no power over me. And so I intentionally kept it the season for nonviolence because right now in our country, it feels divided. And we are working towards unity. That is where we are turning our focus and attention and energy on. However, like we talked about a couple weeks ago, we have to start where we are. We can't start in some future point. We have to start here. And so by saying the season for nonviolence, we are looking the violence that has been happening in our country in the face, and we are saying, you have no power over us. And we are going to be nonviolent, and we are going to be peaceful, regardless of what may have come before, because principle, God, is not bound on precedent. Regardless of what came before, we deny that power and we move forward into unity, into peace, into nonviolence. And so I very intentionally kept the season for nonviolence. I think that that is powerful. And I think that we get to show up and we get to do the work. And so that, you know, we get to turn away from the condition and keep our eyes up and focused on spirit, and also look the condition in the eyes and say, you have no power over me, and God is in the midst of you. God is in the midst of whatever is going on. And this is for me. This is for me. Whatever the this is, whatever the situation or the challenge or the problem or whatever it is that we are denying the power of, it is for me. And if we can open up to that idea that all of life is for me, then we will have that experience of looking above regardless of what's going on. Reverend Dr. David Alexander is the senior minister at Spiritual Living Center in Atlanta, Georgia. And he has this really amazing story about blackberry bushes. He and his wife bought a house, and in the backyard, somebody had planted tons of blackberry bushes. And if you've never experienced blackberry bushes, they are invasive. They grow like weeds. They have giant thorns. They have deep, thick, horrible roots. They're impossible to get out of the ground. They're a nightmare. And he was so angry. He moved into this house and he's like, who would plant these? Who would plant these horrible blackberry vines? Like, what were they thinking? This was the dumbest decision ever, right? And he didn't want them. And so he had to dig them up. And so he's out there and he's like digging out these terrible weeds and these blackberry vines, and he's having to wear these giant gloves, and he's having to dig down deep to get to the bottom of the roots so they don't grow back. And what he realized is he didn't create this problem. He didn't create it. Somebody else did. Somebody else planted the blackberry vines, but it was on his land and his home. And so it became his job to clean the problem up. Even though he didn't create the problem, it became his job to look at the problem and say, you have no power over me, and you're out, you're gone. And that's what we get to do. You're probably not violent, you know, in your daily life. And we have issues that are happening in this country that you might not be directly supporting or contributing to. However, this is our home. And so even though we have not created the problems, it is our job to heal the problems and to take the power away from the problems and to turn back to spirit and to support those people that the problems are hurting, actively hurting, to support those people and bring them along with us. So one example is racism. We have a racism issue in this country. We do. And most people are not racist. However, there are people of color and Black people and Indigenous people primarily, who are being affected by the racism that some people still have in this country and by the systems in place that are still promoting that racism. And so even though we here are not racist, we get to support our Black brothers and sisters, our Indigenous brothers and sisters, all of the people of color, and we get to move them out of the problem, and we get to look the problem in the eye, and we get to say, you have no power here, and we get to create a better world together, because this is our home and this is where we are living, and we get to be united. You know, we say we are all one, so let's put our money where our mouth is, right? I have a quote, hold on. Ernest Holmes also says, the universal creative mind is the same mind you and I are using now. And it is because of the unity of this mind, the oneness, the indestructibility, the eternality, the changelessness of this mind, that we may be certain that our thoughts are acting in this mind with the immutable law of cause and effect. So our thinking is creating our reality, right? Therefore, it follows that if we set up a vibrating point at the center of our own thought, receptive to that which is good, to that which is beautiful and true, we shall irresistibly be attracting that condition into our own environments. And so we get to do that individually and collectively. And when I set up that point within myself, it automatically brings everybody around me along for the ride. We are that powerful, and that is what is possible in the one mind that we are all living and existing from. And so one of the ways that we get to do that is through peak experiences, through meditation and spiritual practice, and showing up in these ways, and then having these mystical experiences where we not only remember that God is all there is, but we experience that on a real personal level within us. Emma Curtis Hopkins is the teacher of teachers. She's considered to be the teacher of teachers. She taught hundreds of New Thought metaphysicians, including Ernest Holmes, many of whom went on to start movements and teachings of their own, like Ernest Holmes did. And Ernest talked about sitting with Emma Curtis Hopkins, and he said she was a true mystic, and that just by sitting with her, just being in her presence, she didn't have to do anything. She didn't have to pray. She didn't have to say anything. She just sat. Just by being there, his consciousness, his vibration was raised. And so that's what's possible. That's what we're here to do together. And so I invite you to ask yourself the question, what am I stuck on? Where have I been focusing and putting all of my energy and attention? And by doing so, I've been holding myself back, and I've been not remembering the truth that God is all there is. I invite you to ask yourself that question, and then actively tell that condition, you have no power over me, and look above it, and remember that God is all there is, and that this is for you. And now we're going to go ahead and close. However, I would like to do some tell us today. And, of course, any feedback on the talk or this topic, or if you have a peak experience that you'd like to share with us, or a time that you felt that shift in perspective in yourself, or if you have something that you've been stuck on that you want to talk about, although please remember, whatever you do share is going out live on Facebook also, so this is not a private forum, and it is being recorded. Would anybody like to share on this topic of looking above, your perspective, peak experiences, stuff you're stuck on, anything like that? Don't all raise your hands at once.
Hey, Reverend Chris.
Hey, Janine.
So this is something that happened to me yesterday, and I thought, oh, I think I need to share this because this had meaning for me. It's not this pair of earrings, but I have this other pair of earrings. They're just my favorites. I got them a couple of years ago in San Francisco, and I wear them frequently. And about 4 months ago, I lost one. And, usually it's just like, oh, it's just earrings. Who cares, right? But it really mattered to me. And I told my mom about it. And I said, maybe the cat took it, or maybe I accidentally vacuumed it. I'll have to search my vacuum cleaner bag. And I mean, it was on my mind. And I kept the one earring. And every time I looked at it, it made me sad because I was missing the other one. Anyway, it didn't, affect my day-to-day life, but it was there. I missed that earring. I was cleaning my purse out yesterday, and the missing earring was in the bottom of my purse. And so not only did I get to find my earring, but what I realized is, that thing that I thought was lost, I'd been carrying it around with me the whole time. And that's what I got. That was the spiritual message to me.
I think you could, beautiful.
I think you could write a sermon on that, right, Reverend Chris?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, I
I
thought
love
so.
that thing that I thought was lost, I was carrying around with me the whole time. That's yeah. Thank you, Janine. Thank you for sharing.
You're welcome.
Richard, I saw that you were unmuted. Did you have something you wanted to add?
Richard, you're talking to me?
I am talking to you, yes.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I didn't realize that this goes out on Facebook. I'm not much of a fan of Facebook until they become regulated. There's been a lot of terrible things that have happened because of Facebook, and I think they need to be regulated,
Okay,
Aside from that, I mean, most of the people are decent people that are on it, but I think personally, I don't have I get stuff on Facebook and I don't answer, or I don't really use it myself. But anyhow, but I must say one thing. How one person can make changes. In this morning's Sunday Post, there's a story about 21-year-old football player, Mississippi State University, black player, who said, I won't play this past season until they change the state flag, take the Confederate emblem off the Mississippi state flag. Well, they finally got around to doing it, and they have a new state flag now that has a magnolia tree. They believe they call it a magnolia. So this young man, and now he's hoping that the NFL will draft him. He's a pretty good player, but he decided not to play his senior year, I guess, until they changed that state flag. And finally, the state legislature and the governor approved a new flag that has a magnolia tree. And I think that's quite. I hope somebody get to read that article. It's in the sports section of today's Post, but it's interesting. 21-year-old man decided that he might, if he wanted to go in the NFL, he might not. If he didn't play his last year, might not get drafted. But anyway, I mean, that shows what one person can do.
Yeah, that's a great story, and it shows the power of both setting our sights, looking above, and looking at something and saying, you don't have power over me, and I know this is for me.
Yep.
Yeah, beautiful. Thank you, Richard.
Yeah,
Who else would like to share? Hanasora.
Oh, yes. Well, a few years ago, we had Nonviolent Communication. That's the name of the book also. And we had a series of workshops. And I kept also thinking, like, I think it was you who said, well, why are we focusing on that? I still kind of think that there's another phraseology that could maybe be used, but at the same time, part of me got it because there actually is such a thing, as we've seen in this past, especially year plus, of violent communication. And there has been all along between persons in behavior, word, and deed, as well as intention and emotion. And so there's not a simple answer. There's a place from time to time for also protest. I think someone several months ago actually said what protesting things that could bring about, somehow encourage that thing which we protest against. And that's where it seems to veer out of context, like taking literally certain teachings, scripture or words, and beautiful this thing, intentions and such, and kind of taking it out of context, because protest I find mission critical in rightly ways and rightly placed, as we well know, as per short story. So period, full stop there. I actually was going to share this, Janine, that yesterday, the whole day, the third top layer of my clothing was on inside out. And I don't do that to be cute or hip or anything. I don't know how. It must have happened in the wash and the dryer and stuff. I almost never do something like, nobody saw me unless it was in passing or something. It was a day of complete physical isolation. But it's on me. Yes, there are mirrors in the house, I suppose, but I didn't notice it until I got ready to change into my jammies. I've been like 15 hours with an inside out shirt. Okay. That's why I wrote person after my own heart. I don't know if I PM'd that or broadcasted it, but yeah, I'm one of these persons that physically, spatially, and geographically will miss a huge neon exit sign in front of my face. Like, Connoisseur, it's like right there, man. So track with that. And it's an excellent analogy for that which is with us, on us, and there, either physically or metaphysically.
Thank you, Hannah Sora.
See.
Thank you. All right, Suzanne and Tim, and then Terry. We have two short shares.
Yeah. Phyllis Atwater, who has several books out, said that spirit or subconscious mind does not know not or non or anything that is not affirming. So this is just a proposal that maybe
that's why losing weight doesn't work.
Huh?
That's why losing weight doesn't work.
Yeah.
All I hear is weight. I can do weight.
Yeah, which is why maybe we should call it the season of peace rather than the season of non-violence.
I was reminded of something that Mother Teresa said. She said that if you have a peace movement, she's there. But if you're anti-war, count me out.
Yes, that is the way that a lot of people in our movement think, and we're still human. And so I think it supports us in denying, because we also teach denials, right?
Yeah.
And so the important thing, you raise a really good point. When we're denying something, like when we say the season for nonviolence, we can't stop there with just nonviolence, because we create a vacuum and it's just going to suck violence right back in if we don't replace it with something. And so we deny the condition and we say season for nonviolence. And then we have Jen send out what we're replacing that with every day. We're replacing it with courage. We're replacing it with peace. We're replacing it with diversity. We're replacing it with change agents. And so that way we are claiming that which we want.
Yeah, I agree. And it nonviolence is better than its alternative.
Exactly.
So yeah, I agree with
Thank you. Thank you, Suzanne and Tim and Terry.
First, a coincidence. I have been trying all week to remember the name of Phyllis Atwater. So thank you, Suzanne. Reverend Chris, I want to tell you that the way you told the microwave story really hit me. The earth moved and I got it. So thank you. And question, could you please repeat the Ernest Holmes quote? Was that an Ernest Holmes quote about vibrating center of my being, truth, beauty, goodness? What was that?
It was probably an Ernest Holmes quote. Yes, I will put it into the chat. That if we set up a vibrating point at the center of our own thought, receptive to that which is good, to that which is beautiful and true, we shall irresistibly be attracting that condition into our own environment. So we vibrate at the level that we want to see, and then everything just sucks right to us.
Hallelujah.
Awesome. Thank you all so much for Tellus, and I'm going to move us into prayer now if I don't randomly mute myself. And so I just invite you to take in a deep, deep breath. Knowing that God is, Spirit is all that there is. That consciousness, that energy, that light, that love, that is infinite, eternal, absolute. It is immanent and it is intimate. It is that which is living itself through each and every one of us. It is every experience we are having. It is every expression that is showing up. It is everywhere we go, everyone we talk to, every challenge, every circumstance, all of it is spirit showing up as spirit, showing up as each of us. And I know that we are that individualized expression, that the breath that we breathe is the breath of spirit. The life that we live is the life of spirit. The actions that we take are the actions of the divine. And so I just know and affirm that each and every one of us is looking above, keeping our eye and our attention focused on that which is true, that God is all there is, and that each of us move into the perspective that this is for us, and that no matter what is going on, this is truly for us. The universe is conspiring for our good, and spirit is closer than our breath, closer than our bodies, because it is who we are. I am so grateful for each person here, and I am grateful for this truth that everywhere we go, there God is. Everywhere we look, their spirit is. And it is constantly, constantly showing up and experiencing itself through each of us. And I am so grateful. And I simply let it go, let it be. Know it is done as I have spoken, and even greater. And that each of us are stepping even more fully into that vibration of oneness. And we say together, and so it is. And now I invite our guest musician, Jillian, back for another song.
Thank you. Hi again. So this is a song that I wrote about 2 weeks into when the stay-at-home order started last March, and I thought it might be useful to hear since we're still doing it. Who knew? And also, I find it really interesting that the way that we're showing affection for each other is to stay away from each other. Yet at the same time, I have also probably reconnected with more people than I ever have because of it. So here's that song. Yeah. I woke up this morning, I had nowhere to go, I had nowhere to be, so I just sat alone. I can't focus anymore, I barely sleep. Yeah, so that's how it was before. Now we're going on 628,000 weeks, or at least it feels like it. This is all I can give to you. This is all I can do. Will you take it as it is? 'Cause it's all I can give to you. You know where to find me. You know where I'll be. For someone who's always moving, it's still new to me. Saying hello through glass is all we're
faces on a screen is our new normal now. This is all I can give to you. This is all I can do. Will you take me as I am? 'Cause it's all I can give to you. I'm tired of these four walls. I know you are too. It's okay to be scared, you know. I am here for you. I know what this sounds like. I really do. What I'm trying to say is I miss you. This is all I can give to you. This is all I can do. For you, I'll stay away this time. For you, that's how much I love you.
Beautiful, Jillian. And yes, it does feel like 628,000 weeks that we've been doing this. So this is the time in our service to talk about our prayer requests and our giving. I see Suzanne has already put into the chat that she can accept prayer requests on her email. And we also have a spot that I'm sure Ivor is probably putting up right now, sharing his screen on our homepage, celebrationcenter.org. You can go there and you can see, you can request prayer. We have a confidential form. It only goes to to myself and our practitioners. So feel free to request prayer there. And if you would like to give to the center through your tithes and gifts, you can do that on our homepage as well with that green button. Click that and you can donate to our center. And please know that all of your gifts, all of your offering, all of your time, talent, and treasures goes to deepen this beloved community, and it goes out into the world and touches lives all over not only Northern Virginia, but this entire country and the world. We had a we had chanting last night, and we had people join us from England. We had people join us from the West Coast, all over. So Celebration Center is truly touching lives globally. And if you would like to donate to that, we would greatly appreciate it. And now we are going to recite our offertory affirmation together. Ivor, I forgot. Yep, good. Okay. So please stay muted, but say aloud with me our offertory affirmation. I open my heart to give and receive the blessings that our spirits promise to me. As I do, the entire universe conspires to give me an abundant life, and I open to accept it. And so it is. And now we have an offertory song.
Okay, I hope you'll sing along at home. This is From You I Receive. From you I receive, to you I give, together we share, and by this we live. From you I receive, to you I give, together we share, and by this we live.
Irina, would you like to bless our gifts and our prayers?
Yes. And I go to deep, deep, deep gratitude in my heart to know that God is, and all the prayer requests already answered in the perfect mind of the universe. And as we know that there is only one power, one love, one life, one joy, one peace, I declare that everyone here is one and inseparable from all the qualities of God. They just belong to each and everyone here and around us, to all our loved ones, to people that we don't know. And I know that there is peace on earth, and that peace begins with me. I know that there is no other way, and I'm so grateful. And I know abundance. Look at the snow. I hope it will be abundant snowstorm. Can you imagine how many snowflakes are coming to our area? No one can count. And this is the abundance of the universe. And I know that the celebration center is practicing and experiencing this abundance of the universe. I know that finances are flowing absolutely easily and freely. And yes, like Reverend Chris just said, it touches lives within the center and around. And it is a blessing. And I'm grateful to know that this center is a blessing to the universe. And I invite you to know that you are a blessing to the universe. And I am gratefully let it be. And this is so. And so it is.
And so it is. Thank you, Irina. And Michael, announcements?
Good morning, everybody. Good morning, beloved community. Like Reverend Chris said, I am so happy to see everybody's vibrant, excited, loving, compassionate faces right before me. It's a blessing. It truly is every Sunday. Anyway, okay, let's get on. And I want to first give out a shout out to Lynn Hollyfield. Don't go anywhere, Lynn. I see you moving. Okay. Our music director, she raised $960 for the benefit concert on Facebook last week. I mean, what a great example of the evolutionary vision that we've just been discussing. And Jillian, our special guest, was her technical assistant. So one of the technical assistants at least. So thanks to both of you there. I think everybody should give a big shout out to and congratulations to her and Jillian. What a great thing to do. The link to the concert and to donate is in the chat. Secondly, well, we've been talking about the season of nonviolence, and Jen Fay is going to be sending something out every day for 64 days. So if you've not already subscribed to the group, the announcements group, just go on celebrationcenter.org and hit subscribe, and we'll send you the information and link. With that, thirdly, I've got them all listed here. Remember to check out Vista Virtual Convention. There's lots of good sessions and events on there. So if you want to, something should resonate with you and that you want to be a part of, you know, send a message to Reverend Chris, and she'll be happy to get you the link for the schedule and sign you up. And now let's talk about love, shall we? February 14th is coming up, guys, very quickly. And on that Sunday, Reverend Faith is going to be back with us. And so we're going to have a special day, special Reverend Faith Day. So we want you to make sure that you make a video for her. The link is in the chat again. Send a card, do it, you know, and say what Reverend Faith means to you. I'm sure we're going to have lots and lots of videos and lots of cards. So remember, February 14th, how can you forget that date, guys? So make sure everybody turns up and let everybody know. We want lots of participation that day to honor our lovely Reverend Faith. And Facebook, we're trying to boost participation on Facebook. We're trying to get more participation, and so go on there, comment, put some likes up there, and remember for the person who does the most comments in February, they're going to receive a special gift, right, Reverend Chris? Yes. And Ivor, could you put up the weekly events page, please? Just go onto our website. You'll see all the weekly events right there, right before you. So check us out. There's something for every day. All right. Well, thank you, guys. Look forward to seeing you next week. Stay safe. Stay healthy. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much, Michael. Lots and lots of announcements and lots of things coming up. So thank you. And Lynn, I believe you have a closing song for us.
I do. And this is, well, Reverend Chris, this was, I tried writing something based on your topic. So in the chat box, I put the chorus. So anyway, this is new. Here we go. When we keep our eyes on spirit. Looking forward, we're not what's happened to us. We are floating in a sea of love. Our choices are words, our voices are heard. Direct and guide our course, reverberates, we're never lost. When we keep our eyes on spirit, when we keep our eyes on God, wonders restoring what's been locked up inside is rising up. No more steep climbs, we're lifted up. We flow in time. When we keep our eyes on spirit, when we keep our eyes on God. Looking upward, there's more than what's before our eyes. We are swimming in a sea of light. Our vision is keen, our actions are seen. What we choose to do in time, illuminate thoughts from our mind. When we keep our eyes on spirit, when we keep our eyes on God, wonders restoring what's been locked up inside is rising up. No more steep climbs, we're lifted up. We flow in time. When we keep our eyes on spirit, when we keep our eyes on God. Looking up above the vast blue sky, an ocean of light fills our eyes. Looking above at a dark, starry night, we're resting in the love of divine light. When we keep our eyes on spirit, when we keep our eyes on God, wonders restoring what's been locked up inside is rising up. No more steep climbs, we're lifted up. We flow in time when we keep our eyes on spirit, when we keep our eyes on God. No more steep climbs, we're lifted up. We flow in time when we keep our eyes on spirit, when we keep our eyes on God. When we keep our eyes on God. When we keep our eyes on God.
I love that, Lynn. Thank
Oh,
you
yay.
so much.
Thank
That
you
was
for the
beautiful.
topic.
That was beautiful. Thank you. And so now I send us all out into the world to continue to look above and see God in everything, everyone, every circumstance, every situation that is going on, knowing that everything that is happening is for us. And the abundance of good in the universe is just as abundant as the snow outside on the ground. And with that, we say bye for now to Facebook, and but join us on Zoom if you want to. And we will be doing our community connection now.